If you were to tell me back in high school I'd be doing a video like this, I'd have looked at you as if I had stepped in dog crap. Oh my god. What path in life did I take to get here? Greetings viewers, Nada here to bring you another commentary. And this one's gonna be a bit different since I'm not responding to a video or tweets. No, I'm gonna be talking about furries. In case you're new to the internet, furry is defined as someone who's enthusiastic about anthropomorphic characters. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, my main avatar is an anthropomorphic fox. But the funny thing is, I didn't identify as a furry when I started using this character. It was like around 2015 when I originally made J Foxwell. Back then called J Fox, using a sprite maker and fashioning him based on what I wore in high school. This was also back when I was watching an internet reviewer called Michael Bennett, or rather his persona Phil Bunny, and I thought to myself, that looks neat, I'll do it with a fox. Heck, I didn't even call myself Foxwell until someone from the brony community recommended it, and that's where the furry allegations all began. They really jumped to the conclusion that because my main avatar was a fox, I must be a furry, and that was a thought process that lasted even when I got into the commentary community. An anthropomorphic persona does not furry make. Kitty Monk has repeatedly said she's not a furry despite her avatar. I don't know if Squirrel Tactics has ever called himself a furry, and with one likely exception, I seriously doubt that anyone in the skeptic/anti-SJW community with an animal avatar ever identified as a furry. Let's go back to the definition I gave earlier. So, if you like Bugs Bunny, does that make you a furry? I don't think so. Does liking Mickey Mouse make you a furry? Kermit the Frog? Garfield? Sonic the Hedgehog? No? No, you just might be a furry if you like that franchise. The entire fanbase is just way too weird for me to get into. On that particular note, a lot of people cite the character Sally Acorn from the Sad AM cartoon as a furry awakening for themselves and others because, well, furries be weird and horny. Being the love interest of Sonic, voice actor Katsuse gave Sally as sexy a voice as the kids' cartoon would allow. And then there were the Archie comics. And depending on who was the artist for which issue, Sally would be taller, more slender, and have more noticeable chesticles beneath her fur. Yeah. She wasn't the only one either. Wouldn't surprise me if there are people out there who developed a thing for Bunny Rabbit, especially after her glow up gave her long braided blonde hair for some reason. And don't even get me started on Rouge the Bat. Recently, the IDW comics got Lan, who is the only other Sonic character I can think of with a noticeable bust. I'm sure the furry artists didn't go crazy over her.
Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic.
I remember another YouTube reviewer citing the cat-faced Mirage from the Atlanta series as people's furry awakening, and there are plenty of furries out there who find Renamon from the Digimon franchise attractive, even though she's just a fox that stands on two legs, and the only sexually attractive trait to her is that she's voiced by Marie Devon in the dub. Now I know what you're thinking. People being attracted to animals? Ew, what degenerates! I'd argue that no. People are usually attracted to anthropomorphic characters because of their physical traits, like breasts and wide hips for female characters, and male characters that tend to be rather buff. You don't have to be a furry to find such characters attractive, since I've seen plenty of people go, I'm not a furry, but... In regards to Bastabon, a literal cat girl belly dancer. Now, there are furries that are attracted to actual animals called zoophiles, and they're generally despised by the majority of the furry community, who view these people as the disgusting degenerates they are, and do their best to ostracize them from the community. Zoophiles are also banned from some of the most infamous furry conventions. At least people try to get them banned. The largest convention, Anthrocon, has actually banned the podcast Zooier Than Thou due to said podcast attempting to normalize zoophilia. The most notorious zoophile, Kira the Wolf, has been chased into hiding after being cancelled and has been seen since. Oh god damn it! Okay, side note to VTubers. Bully this guy out of your community if you haven't recognized him yet and done so. Furry conventions. Yeah, don't go to them. I've gone to Anime Expo and BroyCon twice in my life. Anime Expo because, well, I like anime, and went to BurgerCon in 2017 and 2019 because I had a friend group to meet up with. While I'm sure there's some pretty cool things at a furry convention, I have zero motivation to attend one. Oh, and I also don't want to risk being caught up in something like a 2014 Furfest gas attack. Yeah. In October of 2014, someone apparently released a noxious gas on the 9th floor of the Hyatt O'Hare Hotel simply because that's where guests of the Furfest were staying. Investigation concluded that it was an intentional incident, that no culprit was ever apprehended, and due to statute of limitations, the case was dropped in 2019. Imagine that. Attempting to gas an entire hotel floor just because the guests on said floor were people you dislike. That would be like me saying right to the Marriott because I know a bunch of lollicons are there. Here's also what happened in Rainforest. Here there were reports of vandalism to the hotel, which included flooding with toilet water of all things, and multiple arrests for things like assault and drug possession. Oh god. A supposed orgy. Why is this the second time in my life I'm hearing about an orgy at a convention? All this conduct resulted in the hotel disassociating with the convention. I honestly don't know if I blame them. If stuff like this happens frequently at free conventions, then I think I'm better off not going and just inviting my sister and her family to the Great Wolf Lodge. So the next thing I intended to talk about were fursuits. And for the life of me, I had zero clue what to say here. Not only do I not own a fursuit, I have zero interest in owning one. I can't think of any furries I frequently speak with who do, so I had no one to turn to for information on this topic. I had to watch videos on the subject, be as accurate as I possibly could. I feel like I only came away with a basic understanding. So as you can probably tell from the B-roll footage, fursuit is basically a furry's OC in costume form. Normally they're worn at conventions, but I guess you could be forgiven for thinking that they wear them in their daily lives. Due to all the pictures of them they take in their fursuits they post on social media. I am always going to question how people can see out the eyes of costumes like this. And I've known at least one furry who rigged them out of their costume to move when they were speaking, so it seems that there's a lot more going on in these fursuits than just being a regular costume. There's actually a lot of knowledge that goes into maintaining a fursuit, like knowing what detergents to use so the color doesn't fade and the fur stays nice and fluffy. Nefertiti, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, did a video on maintaining a fursuit, even pointing out that if your fursuit has wings, it's a good idea if they're detachable so they don't get damaged by the machine. You'd also want a large brush and brush in a downward motion, making your shoulder and chest fur look nice. Then we have the cost of commissioning a fursuit. Like any piece of art, work on a fursuit can take a lot of time and effort, and the furs who are working to bring your OC to life will often set a high price depending on who they are, how long and hard they worked on it, and according to a video by a YouTuber named Solar Saber, inflation has gone up since 2020. Hey, so this is post-editing me. Screwed up here. You don't call the people who make fursuits fursuiters. That's what the people who wear them are called. I told you I didn't know much about fursuit culture. However, you can buy a piece of the fursuit at a time, which is a very valid method of payment. You just gotta hope that the fursuiter is patient and willing to agree to that. Never in my life would I have assumed I'd be saying fursuit this much. Does being a furry have to define you? I don't think so. Definitely doesn't define who I am, nor do I make it my entire life or personality. And yet, I often get into arguments with myself say, "You're a furry, lol!" As a personal attack because of my Twitter icon. It was made by really great artist, by the way. They never left 2015. Hell, all the way back in 2018, some joker accused me of being a furry when I wasn't, because of my channel banner, while talking about how bad slideshow commentary avatars supposedly were. Even though I suspect he would have said the same thing about Joe Mario or South Park Joe if I had been using them back then. I'm at that age in my life where I really don't care what nobody randos on the internet say to hurt my feelings or whatever. I see most of you out there don't care what these losers have to say either. Furries, as long as you aren't a zoophile, some other form of creep, you aren't hurting anyone or ripping them off, then you do you. This is Not saying thanks for watching and please share your thoughts with me.